Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have a look at the latest from the live radar. We'll then have a look at the UKV, looking at the precipitation and the temperature over the next 5 days, as it's going to be slightly cooler the next day or two before, as we head into the weekend and the start of next week, is looking likely to turn drier for all and a lot warmer, if not hotter, reaching heat wave conditions perhaps next week. We could be seeing temperatures into the low 30s, maybe even mid 30s on some of the warmer ensemble and operational runs we've seen recently, but it's looking very warm and hot next week. And beyond that, we'll have a look with the GFS ECMWF and the ensembles. It looked like it could cool down, but still there are quite a few, you could even say the majority of ensemble members and operational runs going more for a prolonged warm or hot spell, at least finishing later than the next 7 days, perhaps even later than the next 10 days. So something quite prolonged and hot. It looks like it could be coming towards the end of this weekend and start of next week. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well. The link's in the description. So if we do start on the live radar, you can see it is pretty dry across most of the British Isles at the moment. A few showers across Northern Ireland and Scotland, with low pressure heading further to our north, and we've got a cooler air mass spreading through. So today temperatures are not too amazing, but still warm in the south and east, still around or maybe slightly above average. We can see some heavy showers across Northern Ireland and Scotland, patchy, scattered, so not everywhere seeing them, but when you do see them you will know about it, and that shall continue over the next few hours. If we have a look at those temperatures, you can see again, warmest in the south and the east, perhaps still 25, maybe 26 degrees is possible there. And you can see some very hot air across France and Germany. And that is, you can see there's quite a big temperature contrast there, and that's because a cold front is spreading through, giving those thunderstorms where you can see those yellows. That's where thunderstorms are bringing the temperatures down, and that's where a weather front is spreading through. So the hot air is just to the east and the south of this weather front, and this hot air will be returning towards the end of the weekend and start of the week as high pressure does build in, and it could send the UK, as I said, into the low 30s, perhaps even into the mid-30s as well. But you can see at the moment, as I said, south and east, maybe 25 degrees, top temperature today. Further northwards, much more yellows and even blues showing. So that is sort of low to mid-teens, maybe even high teens in a few spots. So nothing spectacular today. Back towards maybe below average in the north, around average across probably the Midlands, back down to average, maybe slightly above average, and still in the far south and the east, we're still lingering with some warmer air. So if we do have a look at the UKV, first have a look at the precipitation and the temperature over the next 5 days, see what they are showing. So you can see showers moving through at the moment, and as we head through this evening, there'll still be plenty of showers across northern Scotland, but more confined to the western half of Northern Ireland and Scotland, and generally elsewhere it's pretty dry. A few showers could creep into northwest England through the early hours, and by tomorrow afternoon could see some more widespread showers across northern England, but they won't be anywhere near as heavy, and actually will reduce across Scotland and Northern Ireland. So just a few scattered showers here or there, and again, not too bad of a day, still sunny, and it still feels warm in that sunshine, but the air mass isn't too great, so we're not going to be seeing anything too high, but still maybe low 20s, maybe mid 20s top temperatures. As we're through to Saturday, you can see some precipitation, a bit of a weather front moving into northern areas, and that means warmer air is starting to approach with a change of air mass. So some showers and some cloud through northern areas, but we are starting to warm those upper air temperatures. By Sunday, you can see a bit of drier as the high pressure builds in, and as we head into Monday, we are properly starting to get into a warmer air mass back towards the low teens, maybe touching on the mid-teens by this time at 850 HPA. We can see that. Putting the 850 HPA temperatures on, you can see getting towards 10, 11, 12 degrees potentially, and even warmer air starting to waft off from the south through Monday afternoon, and that will continue to rise through Tuesday, peaking through Wednesday to Friday next week. The next week, beyond the next day or two, is looking very, very warm in many places, and you can see higher pressure is building, and you see those reds, 1,030 millibars over most of the country, so high pressure, so minimal precipitation there. If you do have a look at those max temperatures, you can see this afternoon those temperatures are peaking, as I said, maybe around 25, 26 degrees tip-top temperatures in the far south and east. Widely, though, mid to high teens, maybe low 20s in a few spots. So around average, maybe even slightly below average in a few spots. And as we head into Friday, you can see those temperatures once again rising in around the low 20s, slightly cooler than today, down around 22 to maybe 24 degrees, widely further northwards. high teens, maybe even low to mid-teens in a few spots, so much cooler, back down towards average, if not slightly below average in a few spots. But as we head into Saturday, you can see those temperatures will start to rise more widely into the low 20s, but still nothing spectacular, only peaking 24 in the south, so around average. And by Sunday, still in a slightly cooler air mass, but starting to rise a little bit, 25, 26 degrees is possible, more widely high teens, low 20s, maybe even mid 20s for quite a few areas across England and Wales. And as we head into Monday afternoon, you can see temperatures rising once again. Mid to high 20s possible, 27, 28 degrees, and expect that to rise considerably through Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, potentially getting towards the high 20s, widely, and even into the low 30s, and you could even rule out a mid 30s, maybe 34, 35 degrees in a few spots next week. So if we do have a look at the latest from the GFS 6 o'clock run, you can see northerly winds at the moment, so a cool air mass is spreading in, but high pressure is building over the country, and towards this weekend it will be turning much drier, and that warm air mass will arrive by around Monday, Tuesday next week. You see really big, building in, moving to our east, and we're starting to waft up a bit of a south to easterly flow that will turn in much warmer, if not hotter air, looking really quite nice and pleasant. In the longer term, we do see bit of a cool down, perhaps more of a westerly flow coming in the longer term, but at least for the 7 to 10 day time frame, it's still looking very warm and very dry. Yes, more unsettled and slightly cooler in the longer term, but we can't look at that in too much detail at this stage just because it is so far in advance. If we do run it back and have a look at those upper air temperatures in around early next week, you can see initially 10 degree isotherm comes in, then slowly the 15 degree isotherm builds in, and then we could even get the 20 degree isotherm in by around Friday, Saturday next week, so it could be turning very hot there. That would give temperatures, as I said, in the mid-20s, maybe even high 20s in a few spots where eventually cooler air masses do spread in. Now, if you run it back and just have a look at the surface conditions from probably Tuesday onwards, because we haven't got that on the UKV, if we do zoom in, you can see for Tuesday afternoon, GFS showing widely mid to high 20s, low 30s in a few spots. Again, this will underdo it slightly because it is a sort of low resolution ensemble, model compared to the UKV, but it will still do a relatively good effort at those temperatures. And you can see by Wednesday the 10th, we're starting to see those temperatures widely again in the high 20s, maybe low 30s, and by Thursday still with a very warm, if not hot air mass, more widely into the low 30s across many central, southwestern parts, 32, maybe 33 degrees is possible there. And as we head towards Friday, once again, those temperatures rising even higher, 33, 34 degrees is very possible, and widely high 20s, low 30s. And as we head towards Saturday, the 13th, again, around 30, 31 degrees quite widely. Again, you can see a few patches of cooler air there, and that will be because we have some thunderstorms or something like that breaking out. And as we head into Sunday, the 14th, you see still very warm, very hot day, widely low 30s once again, so dry there and very hot. And even into Monday, a little bit of a cool down, but still mid to high 20s, and this is all the way out beyond the 10-day time frame. So for sort of Monday, Tuesday next week, some areas in the south could be pretty much around or above heatwave thresholds, which in the highest areas of London up towards Cambridgeshire, that is 28 degrees. We could be above that for a good 5 to maybe even 7 days starting this Monday in a few spots. So it could be seeing quite a prolonged, very hot heat wave coming up over the course of next week. So starting Monday, perhaps all the way getting all the way to the end of the next weekend into around the 14th, 15th of August. Could be very warm, hot, and could be quite oppressive as well with the sustained heat here. Now, if we do have a look at the GM, because of course we've all got to compare it, can't always rely on one model run. You can see high pressure building in at the moment. Things turning more settled, but by the end of next week, we are starting to pull in lower pressure by Saturday, Sunday. So GEM breaks this down a lot faster than that GFS 6 o'clock run does. Now, if we do have a look at the air masses for this, you can see by Wednesday next week, still in a very warm air mass, but you can see by Thursday, we're starting to sweep that air mass away and going much fresher by Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So still bringing warmth in, still bringing heat in for maybe 3 or 4 days, but not the 6 or 7 days the GFS is going for. So still looking very warm and hot, but not quite as sustained as we saw on the GFS. And that is one difference. But as we'll have to see with the ensembles in a minute, I definitely would favour the longer form that we saw in the GFS, where it's more lasting 6 or 7 days, because that's what we're seeing on most of the ensemble members. So I'd say the GM is on the cooler end, but regardless, we'll still have a look at the 2-metre temperatures here, and you can see on Tuesday afternoon those temperatures peaking around 30 degrees, maybe low 30s, and by Wednesday, still very warm day, widely high 20s, low 30s again, and by Thursday, still seeing warm conditions in a few spots, high 20s, but by Friday, that cooler air is firmly in, back down to the mid to low 20s, so much more back towards sort of average conditions there from the GEM run. So yeah, very interesting seeing that today. But as I said, the ensemble members definitely are favouring that sort of pattern of a more sustained warmer spell. But we can't rule out the GM at this stage. Now, if we do have a look at the ECMWF, see what that is showing in high pressure building in at the moment, continuing in, and by Wednesday, Thursday next week, we're still under higher pressure, but low pressure is having a good go at breaking in, and by Saturday, Sunday, it does, and we start to go into a cooler air mass. This could result in quite a thundery breakdown, I suspect, with this. So if we do have a look at the upper air temperatures, you can see by Tuesday, still very warm, very hot. By Wednesday, still very warm and hot, lingering that hot air all the way to Friday, and Saturday in the far south and the east, but by Sunday we're all into slightly cooler air masses. So ECMWF slightly more in the middle, maybe 5 days of very hot weather, or probably 4 or 5 days of hot weather widely, maybe 6 or 7 days in the far south and east as we try and hold on to that hot air. And there probably would be some big thunderstorms around with that breakdown as we see instability, low pressure collide with that hot, humid air up from the near continent. So we'll just have to see exactly how it does play out. And again, if we just briefly have a look at the 2-metre temperatures from this ECMWF run, you can see by next Saturday, those temperatures widely again in the low 20s, but you go to Friday and you can see those temperatures still high 20s, low 30s in the far south and east, and Thursday more widely high 20s, low 30s, and Wednesday again, widely high 20s, low 30s. Again, we can only see the 12 p.m. temperatures because of how the ECMWF run is configured. In the longer term, only goes in 6-hour intervals, so we can't see the peak at 3 p.m. So that's why we'll add a couple degrees onto this, as it is only midday, and we still got to have a few hours of heating. But yeah, south and east could be similar to the GFS, above those heatwave thresholds, all the way from Monday to Sunday, but further northwards and westwards, maybe only for maybe 3 or 4 days. So 3 different runs, all showing hot weather, at least for a time, but the longevity of it, the widespread nature of that longevity as well, is yet to be exactly determined. But if we do have a look at the ensembles, we'll have to look at the midnight run for the GFS, because the 6 o'clock run hasn't fully come out. It's not loading beyond day 10, and we're a good few hours out from when it should have loaded, so I suspect there is an issue with it. But if we have a look at the midnight run, you can see cool at the moment, getting above average again by around the 8th, so in 3 or 4 days' time, right at the end of the weekend, and staying well above average to the end of the run, with those temperatures peaking around the 10th to the 15th of August. A good 5 days there with up air temperatures in the low to mid-teens, which would equate to high 20s widely, low 30s locally, and it could even nudge up to mid-30s if we did see it relatively sustained, which is looking quite likely here. You can see the operational midnight run went really low in the longer term, and the majority, as I said, are remaining very warm even into the middle of August, around the 15th to 20th, still warm on quite a few runs. Nothing crazy, nothing like the 40-degree heat, because we need well above 20 degrees at 850 HPA for that. We're seeing the max ones go maybe 20, 21 degrees, and the majority peaking around 15, 16, 17 degrees, as I said, which would equate to low 30s, mid 30s. So nothing like what we saw in mid-July, but it could be more sustained, it could be more widespread, at least further northwards and westwards with higher pressure building in. Again, the temperatures will be very much dependent on local on positioning in the country, because of course the south is close to the hotter air, so it's always going to be a bit warmer, but it'll be widely dry and most likely sunny as well, so it'll be very warm and real pleasant for all. And if we do have a look at those 2-metre temperatures from that midnight run, widely in London getting above that 25 to 30 degree mark for the foreseeable future, and of course they're low resolution, you've got to add a couple degrees on, and you can see the peak would probably be low 30s, high 20s, low 30s for a number of days there, at least 5 there on these ensemble members. And again, these are only showing the 12 p.m. and the 6 p.m. temperatures. You can even add another couple of degrees on for that. So we could be seeing maybe low to mid 30s next week. So we'll just have to see how it does play out. But at this stage, looking very warm, very dry and hot. And if we do compare that to the ECMWF in the longer term, you can see for the midnight run, again, cool at the moment, turning well above average around the 9th, 10th of August, and staying well above average for the foreseeable future. You can see the operational run drops off there, but the majority are staying very warm and dry. So the ECMWF operational run there is on the lower and the cooler end of the spectrum. So again, looks very warm and very dry on the ECMWF runs. More precipitation around 13th, 14th of August onwards. So perhaps low pressure coming in on some of the ensemble members, but still most of them, if not all, are going very warm and hot for at least 3 or 4 days there, from around the 8th, 9th of August to around the 13th, 14th. So yeah, warm, heatwave-like conditions looking very likely next week. Widely high 20s, quite locally and widely at times we could see low 30s, and I'd say local temperatures could peak around that 33 to 35 degree mark, perhaps around Wednesday to Friday next week, if we do see these warmer ensemble member runs come off, the ones getting towards that 15 degree range, which looks very possible, but is not guaranteed, just because we do still have quite a few ones that are slightly lower, restraining those temperatures in the high 20s, low 30s instead. So we'll just have to see how it does play out, but the headline is very warm, if not hot, most likely heatwave conditions next week, and still bone dry conditions for many areas next week. You can see that here. Very little precipitation coming in the next 8 to 10 days for London. So anyway, thanks for watching, hope you have enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.